Kylie, would you be able to come over and stay at my house and take care of the house tomorrow? You're bored to death, right? I'm sure you need something to do. It's not like you do much every day anyway. So that would be great. Thanks! Hi, Amber. I'm not sure, but I mean, are you busy? Going out somewhere tomorrow then? What do you expect me to do at your house? I have to go to this afternoon tea thing and dinner with my friends that'll last all the way until the late evening. So I'll need someone to be home all day instead of me. I don't have time to do all of the chores at home, you see. Are you going to be leaving Jim at home then as well? Yes, exactly. And that's the reason why I want you to come over and help him out for the day. I mean, he's an elderly who just got out of the hospital. He needs a lot of help around the house. I think he just wants to stay in bed and sleep anyway, so you won't have much to do. Although, if he needs anything, I'm sure you'll be there for him. Ah, yes. He had some issues with his heart, right? Is he okay now? That's right. He's recovering and he's fine for now. So anyway, I'd like you to watch over him for the day, please. He needs all of his 3 meals and plenty of water. And whatever else he needs, take care of him and keep him happy, all right? And in case there is something regarding his condition, the doctor's number is on the fridge for you to call. That's not too much to ask from you, right? So you want me to watch over him all by myself? When I've never taken care of him before. Is he okay with that? Sure he is. You'll be fine. It's not like he'll be causing any trouble for you, so you can take it easy here. He really only needs help eating and going to the bathroom since his legs are still very weak. And how long will you be gone for again? Or what time do you think you'll be coming home tomorrow? You said late evening, but do you know what time? Well, I don't have a definitive time for that. I just have to see how things go. You know what these things can be like, right? Sure, okay. Well... Are you refusing to help us? No, I'm not refusing. I'm just wondering how long you'll be away for. Well, let's say I'll be back by around 8 p.m. for now. And it'll only be a day of watching over someone that just recovered from their battle against an awful sickness. He won't be able to do much anyway, so you can stay at the house while he sleeps for most of the day. Like I said, no need to worry, okay? Agreed. Well, if you're away for a very long time, I might start to get a little anxious. Are you just trying to get out of this? If you are, then maybe you should stop being so selfish and learn how to take care of someone besides yourself for once. He's your father-in-law, for Pete's sake. And he took very good care of you for the longest time. Sure, I know, but that's not what I meant. Well, I just don't feel comfortable taking care of someone who just left the hospital all by myself. That's a lot of responsibility there. If you have something you want to tell me, then hurry up and let me hear it, Kylie. You just don't want the burden of taking care of my husband, huh? I should have known. I'm almost 70 and have had to deal with his sickness for years now. Wait, Amber, but that's not what this is all about. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come across rude like that. Do you think you can get anywhere in life with that attitude of yours? My attitude? If you really want people to listen to you, you have to be upfront about it. Stop being so afraid of confrontations and just speak up, for Pete's sake. Listen to you and that tiny voice you have. No one can understand what you're saying, you know. Whenever you're around, the whole atmosphere turns all boring and negative. Is this because you didn't have any parents around you when you were growing up? Oh, no. I don't think that has anything to do with this, Amber. I know that I was raised in a foster home, but that shouldn't be the reason for me speaking and acting the way I do. I guess it's just kind of the way I am. Then what's the reason for you being so awful to be around? I'm sorry. Why do you always have to keep apologizing like that? You sound so pathetic. Or maybe you think apologizing will help you get out of this situation, huh? You think that apologizing will make everything okay? God, how annoying. That's not what I intended to sound like. I'm really sorry. I'll make sure to take good care of Jim while you're out with your friends. I'll do all of it. Feed him, take him to the bathroom, and anything else he needs. Good. Kylie, don't forget that you married into my family, okay? Yes, I did. Then you should know that as the wife, you have to take care of our whole family, okay? You didn't think you were going to marry David and just take care of him, right? Before you came along, I was the one that cared for everyone in this family, you know. It was tough work for me, but do you think I complained about any of that? I guess not. You're right. I did not. But it's not that I hate caring for others or anything. Then why are you being so opposed to the idea of it? I'm sorry. Why did my son have to marry a girl like you, eh? I have no idea. He should have found a woman who's the total opposite of you. Such an unfortunate choice on his part. Now I have to deal with a sad excuse for a woman who doesn't even have the balls to do anything besides sit there looking dumb and useless. I'm sorry that I don't live up to your standards, Amber. I'll make sure that from now on, I'll take better care of everyone in the family. You'd better, Kylie. Now you're making me worried leaving my husband in your hands. If only you weren't the only person available at the moment. Anyway, just do as I say. You don't want me telling David about this, do you? No. Okay, I'll take care of everything. Good. Kylie! What the hell was that just now? Laughing out loud in the middle of the funeral? Are you crazy? Where are your morals? Do I need to take you outside and teach you some basic manners? I'm sorry, Amber. I guess I wasn't able to hold back my emotions. What the hell was that for? This is a funeral! Jim just died a few days ago. Your own dang father-in-law. And yet you don't seem to care one bit! And when we held his wake, you were laughing in the back too. Giggling to yourself like a little schoolgirl. Have some manners and behave, for crying out loud. I was just happy that it's all over now. I'm finally able to escape from that hell he put me through. I have no idea what you mean by that. You do realize that our relatives were shocked by what you did. They started to think that it was almost our fault, and some of them were glaring at me for it too. You do realize how humiliating that was, don't you? They thought you made me act like this? Well, they're not wrong there. But I'm so happy about this all being over after so many long years. Celebrating over my husband's death. You're a piece of trash! I don't want someone like you anywhere near this funeral anymore. I want you to leave and go back to the house. OMG, really? Are you sure? Thank you so much. I didn't really have any remorse or whatever feelings I'm supposed to feel for Jim anyway. And this whole funeral was getting pretty boring. Shut the hell up, Kylie! What did you have against him? Were you upset that I had you watch over him and take care of him the other day, while I was out of the house? Or maybe you felt that life was too unfair for you growing up as a foster child and you're gloating over my husband's death. That's not what any of this is about. I guess my son really did mess up choosing you as his wife. I never knew there could be someone as vile as you are now in my family. You make me sick. You think I'm vile? Of course I do. Ever since the start of the funeral, you've been acting like Jim's death was the best thing ever. And so now, because of your thoughtless behavior, I'm humiliated. So this must mean that you do hate me after all. I always thought that you did for a long time now, but that just clarifies it. You hate me so much that you kicked me out of your husband's funeral like this. It's heartbreaking. What makes you think you can say that to me? You sat there laughing at a funeral, for God's sake! I had no choice but to kick you out. Anyone else would have done the same thing. If I didn't, my family and friends would start to think that I allowed you to be rude. But kicking me out in the heavy rain? You've seen what it's like outside, right? I'm drenched, and what if I catch a cold? Oh, shut up. See if I care. Listen, I never really liked you in the first place, but this is where I'm going to draw the line with you. I don't even want to see your face anymore. So get out of my face! Wow. I had no idea that you'd be so protective over him. You must have really thought of Jim as the most important man in your life. even though it never seemed like you two were very close. Jim was a pretty busy person and he was never around the house, right? Sure, but our relationship wasn't shallow or anything. But deep down in our hearts, we trusted each other wholeheartedly. That's why. But I never heard you guys have a proper conversation. That's because we prefer more deep and meaningful conversations that tend to happen while you're not around. My husband was an amazing man. Oh, really now? And what do you know? He worked for a huge company and was a huge asset to them, for that matter. And that's why you saw some very wealthy and powerful people at his funeral. They came from all over the world wanting to see him off. And I'm not about to let an idiot like you stay here and make a fool of us anymore. You better apologize to my husband. Apologize? Me? Why do I have to be the one that needs to apologize to him? I can't deal with this anymore. You should know by now that I no longer have the patience to deal with your crap anymore. And I know now what kind of terrible person you really are. I don't think you really know much at all about me. You're about to make me laugh now, too. You should be aware that I'm allowed to laugh at your husband for who he was and what he did to me. You frickin' animal! I don't want a disgusting person like you near my family anymore. And leave my son! You're a bad influence on him. Well, that's our business, and we're doing fine, thanks. I'm sure that after what David saw today, he won't love you anymore to stick around. You devil! Now get out of my face! Kylie! Where are you at right now? You told me to go home, so that's where I'm heading right now. And you also told me to move out of the house, so I'm going to pack all my things and do that too. You also told me that you want me to leave David. So I'll make sure you don't have to think about me being a part of your family anymore. No, just come back to the funeral now! Kylie! Now! And why would I do that for you? You just literally told me to get out of your face. You hate me. So why are you going back on your words this quickly? David told me that he wants me to bring you back here. But it's raining so much right now that I can't go outside. Well, I did get a text from him a few minutes ago. He told me he wanted me back at there too. But I told him that you didn't want me in the family anymore, so I wasn't going to go back there. I can even send you the messages he sent me. Well, David's really mad at me right now. Why did you have to tell him that I said those things to you? He wants you back here now, and I have to apologize to you. What are you talking about? Does he think that as stubborn as you are, you'll apologize to me? Even after you've made me feel like an insignificant and useless part in the family? Well, I've been carrying Jim's phone with me, and David came up to me earlier, telling me to give him his phone. He told me that you were acting weird laughing at the funeral, and he thought that there might be something in Jim's phone that might explain why you were doing that. Well, he's not wrong there. So, did you guys find anything interesting in his phone? Did we? I mean, oh gosh. I'm really sorry, Kylie. Why are you apologizing to me? Can you explain to me in detail what all you found inside his phone? Because I'm sure whatever it is, you will need more time to understand the situation. We found all of the messages between you and Jim. He made a move on you, I know. A move? Oh, it was more than that. Right, I'm sorry. I can't believe this was all going on. Why would Jim say such disgusting things to you? I can't believe he said those things. So now that you've seen everything and he's been exposed, do you see why I've been feeling the way I have been? Jim was a horrible man to me. I'm so sorry that he upset you, Kylie. For the longest time, Jim has been coming on to me. For years. Even if I told him to stop every time. I'm sorry to hear this. It looks like the more you rejected him, the more he pursued you. And all this time, you didn't tell any of us. That's right. I hope you can see things better now. He had a huge appetite for younger women. He was sick in the head. I can't believe that he'd try and do this with his own daughter-in-law. I'd hate to even think about him. He'd always treat and talk about women like they were his toys. And he'd say really harsh things to me when I was alone with him, too. You have no idea. It was all very unbearable for me. But why didn't you tell me about all of this? There wasn't a reason for me to tell you, because it would have only created a lot of drama and friction in the family. And you probably wouldn't have even believed what I'd say to you in the first place. There were even times where he said there'd be nothing I could do or say to you guys that would make you trust me. How long had Jim been going after you like this for? Well, the first time I got a really strange message from him was just after my wedding with David. Since then, I always tried my best to make sure Jim and I would never be alone together whenever I had to go to your place. But on the days when you made me watch over him all by myself, it was hell for me. So that's why you refused to take care of him, huh? All this time, he was trying to have his way with you, wasn't he? Jim was a horrible and scary person, Amber. I would have much rather have you hate me than have to be with him all the time. But even then, I knew that you'd always be on his side. So there was literally nothing I could do to stop this. I had no idea that my husband would do anything like that to you. I'm still having a hard time believing everything I'm hearing. Well, Amber, you were never really that good at figuring out people's true intentions, were you? I could never understand what you saw in him. Because to me, Jim was like the devil, and I was just living in his version of hell. Don't talk about him like that! I know he's done terrible things, but please! And Kylie, you're not exactly perfect either, are you? What do you mean? I'm sure there were times where you thought about having an affair with Jim, right? Maybe you were the one that made the first move on him. If it wasn't for that, maybe he would have never done something so indecent as this. Wow. How can you say that? You really don't trust me, do you? And why should I? Do you still not see the horrors that your husband put me through? Why do you keep trying to turn all of this on me to make me look like I'm the one at fault? Amber, is it that difficult for you to understand that I was the victim? Hush! I've been apologizing to you this whole time, haven't I? You only apologized to me because your son was pissed at you. I will not accept that kind of a shallow apology from you. And I also have no wish to come back to that man's funeral. All of your family is here having a rough time accepting his death. If you don't come back here to support us, they're all going to start questioning the situation. If things keep moving in this direction, there will be rumors that start to spread about us. So you only want me there to help protect the family image? Especially yours? That is going to be a definite no from me. You're all going to head to the cemetery now, right? I have no plans in coming to that either to see the burial. Are you really that upset at my husband? He's dead! Get over it! Upset? Isn't that pretty obvious, Amber? I don't even want to see any pictures of him, let alone think about him. I'm sorry that you had to have such unfortunate memories with Jim, but don't you think you're overreacting just a little bit too much? Just forgive him for his wrongdoings. If you keep thinking of him like that, he'll never be able to rest in peace. You're still thinking about him over me? The only reason he died is because he needed to run away from his crimes that he tried to inflict on me. I think at the very least, you should tell the others about the truth. What he did and who he was, so that people can forgive him instead of despising him in his afterlife. No way. That's too embarrassing, and I'm not saying a thing to anyone. Let's just keep this between you and me, okay? If you want some money, I'll pay you to keep your mouth shut. I should have known you'd be like that. Kylie, did you really end up moving out of the house? I really want to apologize to you directly, so please come back here. I mean it. I know that I was in the wrong for everything. Has the burial finished yet? If so, I hope you feel some closure to your journey with Jim. Kylie, please come back. You didn't do a single thing wrong this time. Everything was both Jim and me. It was our fault, and I want you to know that. It seems that you have changed your thoughts, huh? Does that mean that David had another go at you? No, actually, it wasn't just him yelling at me this time, but all of my family and friends. Is that because you tried to make me look bad in front of everyone? I'm sure that they knew something was up with you two, and weren't going to take your bait. Yes. And like I said, I'm so sorry. Well, no wonder they are pissed at you then. You still tried to make me look bad even after I had left. There really isn't a thing we can all do about your childish behavior, is there? You must have really thought there'd be someone who'd take your side on this. But that's just not the case anymore. Is it? Everyone keeps telling me to go apologize to you before you totally shut me off. So no matter how I tried to spin things, they all knew Jim and I are to blame. As they should be. What's worse is that I dug deeper into this and checked Jim's phone, and found that he was talking to a bunch of other young girls besides you, too. Really? Wow. I can't believe I wasn't the only one. Well, there were more than 20 different young women, all between the ages of 21 and 35. Gross. He's so disgusting. Well, after being yelled at by everyone, I finally realized that Jim wasn't the man I thought he was. I'm really, really sorry, Kylie. You know, when Jim would try and get me to sleep with him and I said no, he threatened me. What did he say? He told me that he'd tell you guys that I was the one who was hurting him. He'd start calling me names every time I said no to his advances. Really nasty and horrible names. Oh gosh. I'm aware of this. I read the texts. I made sure to look at everything he texted you when he'd try and get you to be next to him. He grabbed my breasts and slapped my behind with whatever tool he could grab. You could have stopped him from doing these things, since you were in the same house as us. But even then, you turned the other cheek, and I'll never forgive you for that. I promise you, I never knew that those things were happening when I was around. I'm serious. I highly doubt that. I can understand you not wanting to forgive me, but don't divorce David. Please. My son doesn't want you to leave him. The only person who ever tried to talk me into leaving him was you, Amber. And I want to take back what I said to you. I'm really sorry. All you've been doing for the past few minutes is apologize. But do you really understand what you did? How wrong you are? I do. I'm asking you to at least do this one thing for me. Because my son is asking me to. He said if I don't ask for you to stay with him, he'd cut ties with me. Well, I was never mad with David in the first place, so we won't be getting a divorce. Oh, thank God. Thank you. As for his dad's mistakes, he said he'll try hard to forget about it. But unlike him, I'm still upset over everything. The fact that you never stood up for me, or even noticed the things Jim was doing to me. So I can't say I'll be forgetting that. But you're not angry at me, right? Just Jim, right? I guess not. Thank goodness. But the only problem is that if I see you, I'll remember Jim. So I have no choice but to never see you again. So the two of us want to move somewhere far away from you. What? Are you joking? I'll rarely be able to see my son! But isn't that better than having him cutting you off as his mom? Well, I guess, but that's not fair! I don't know what to say. Also, I'm pretty surprised that most of your family have been so supportive to me in all of this. Have you told them everything about Jim? I didn't, but David should have. So that's how he got everyone to support you. Everyone's been ignoring me. Interesting. Jim has done more damage and made a lot of our relatives and his business partners cut him off. Are you happy now? Well, I suppose. Actually, I can't stop laughing. Serves you right, Amber. Since the last conversation I had with my mother-in-law, Amber, my husband David and I bought a new house that was located far away from her. I feel that everything Jim put me through while I was alive, and even after he passed, was one of the worst things that ever happened to me. I'm scarred for life, and the only way out is to stay as far as I can from anything and anyone related to him. Except for his son, who's also my husband. I had so many nightmares of him trying to fondle me and sleep with me, and when I'd wake up in the middle of the night sweating with my heart racing. I'm so glad they've stopped recently. If I just told David about him in the first place, things might have turned out way differently. We might have been able to even get Amber to stop Jim from doing those nasty things, or I could have handled this in court. I guess I was so frightened by the idea that no one would believe me, and that I'd be made to look like a fool. I never visited Jim's grave, and I don't think I ever will. A lot of people saw him as this generous person who ran a famous company, but I'll make sure no one thinks of him in the same way again. As for Amber, I don't know what she's doing, but David hasn't seen her recently, so neither of us have any idea. I just hope that she has made a new start just like I did. I found myself a therapist, who I'll meet with twice a week to help me overcome this. Maybe she can see one too. I'm going to get help with my nightmares of Jen, and get over the anger I still have towards Amber. Because being angry at so many people for a long time can make for a very depressing life. Luckily, I have a great husband supporting me, and in a year or two, I hope to get my life back on track. Thanks for watching. Feel free to like the video and leave a comment. See you in the next one.